Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Thank you so much for joining us here on Health Professional Radio. We'll be speaking with Dr. Svetlana Babajanyan. She's joining us here as Executive Medical Director of Medical Affairs for Oncology at Bayer U.S. Pharmaceuticals. She's going to discuss some new findings from 3 separate studies analyzing the safety and efficacy of Vitrakvi in pediatric and adult patients. Welcome to Health Professional Radio, Dr. Babajanyan. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me.
Now, I did mention, of course, your position there at Bayer U.S. Pharmaceuticals. Give us a brief look into your professional background and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, sure. I'm the medical doctor by training from my country, Armenia. I've been working in pediatric ICU for 12 years until I moved to United States. And I joined Bayer in 2006. My initial employment with Bayer was at Safety, a pharmacovigilance department, where I was responsible for oncology, diagnostic imaging, and specialty therapeutics. And my main responsibility globally was to process the safety information of all Bayer drugs that I was responsible for receiving from clinical trials as well as from spontaneous sources. Then I moved to medical affairs in 2011, and since then I've been working in medical affairs in the U.S. I'm currently responsible for targeted medicine, mostly TKI franchise, precision medicine, which is larotrectinib, as well as PI3K franchise, which is capivasertib. And I'm also responsible for pipeline clinical trials as well as the phase 4 trials when it comes to activated studies in the United States.
Now, this compound that we're going to discuss today, Vitrakvi, is that the correct pronunciation of the compound?
Yes, it's a trade name, Vitrakvi. Its generic name is larotrectinib. And
what is this drug specifically indicated for?
This drug is the first drug ever approved by the FDA, a tumor-agnostic drug, which is indicated for all tumors in adults as well as in pediatric patient population who express NTRK fusion positivity.
And there was some recent data that was shared at this year's ASCO meeting, I do believe.
Yes, we presented at ASCO the data. It calls long-term safety and efficacy of larotrectinib, cumulative data from 3 different studies, which include pediatric population as well. And the data cut off was July 2022. So this data also represent cumulative results as well as a subgroup analysis of, again, long-term safety and efficacy for thyroid as well as a lung cancer patient population.
Now, Vitrakvi has a very unique approach to affecting these tumors. Explain to our listeners how this compound works differently than traditional compounds.
Sure. The TRK fusion cancer occurs when the NTRK gene fuses with another unrelated gene, producing or express or trigger the signaling cascade. These NTRK fusion proteins, they call the TRK fusion proteins, are oncogenic drivers promoting cell growth and survival leading to NTRK fusion cancer. The NTRK fusion cancer are not limited to certain types of tissue and can occur in any part of the body.
I understand that Vitrakvi is celebrating a few years of being on the market. Is it only available in the United States?
Good question. So Vitrakvi has been approved for 5 years now. We're going to celebrate 5-year anniversary of Vitrakvi on the market in U.S. However, Vitrakvi also approved outside of U.S. in approximately 40 countries when patients also can benefit from the treatment from Vitrakvi. And as I mentioned, the drug was approved across multiple tumors, which include lung cancer, thyroid cancer, glioblastoma, sarcomas, certain pediatric cancer, as well as the gastrointestinal cancers.
Is this a difficult cancer to detect? How is it diagnosed?
Yes, it's a good question. First of all, I would like to mention that NTRK fusion cancer are rare, and there is a need to drive early and systematic NTRK gene testing to identify patients who may be able to benefit from treatment is very important. And it's very rare in solid tumors, and it's very unique and very common in rare tumors. And I think the important to know that in order to patient benefit from the treatment, they have to be tested earlier for NTRK fusion positivity, and it's usually via NGS testing. It's a whole genome testing that will identify this NTRK fusion positivity.
Is the dosing significantly different when dealing with a pediatric patient as opposed to an adult? And what does this compound consider a pediatric patient? Are we talking 18 and below or some other cutoff?
It's a good question. It's not any cutoff. It's from 0 to any age. Basically, even newborns can, if they identify having cancer, which is usually rare, but, as you know, there are some patients who may have a cancer at the beginning of their life. And there is no limit in age or cutoff for any age. And the drug dosing, it's not different. The only interesting point I would like to mention that for pediatric population, Vitrakvi has oral solution, which is very convenient for patients such as newborns and patients who are unable to swallow the pills.
Now, it is my understanding that this compound doesn't depend on where in the body the cancer has started. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. As I mentioned, these TRK fusion proteins who form during the genomic division of the cells may cascade a lot of abnormal division of the cells, and they form the cancer independently of the site of the tumor, site of the body.
You mentioned that NTRK gene fusion cancer was rare. How rare a condition is this?
It also depends on the tumors. There is epidemiological data depend on the tumor type. As I said, in solid tumors, it's rare. For example, in lung cancer, it's estimated that it's around 0.1 to 0.5% of patients may express TRK fusion positivity. In thyroid cancer, it's a little bit higher. It's up to 15 to 20% of patients may express NTRK fusion positivity. And it's very common and highly seen in patients with infantile sarcomas. It's around 60 or 70% of patients may express TRK fusion positivity.
Is there any new or any updated information that you can share with us that we haven't covered yet, or anything at all that you'd like to add?
Yes, as I said, we just, continue following up these patients who are enrolled and keep enrolling in 3-phase, big phase studies. And data cutoff of July 2022 was presented at ASCO, which showed continuously, it's based on long-term safety and efficacy, and it continues to demonstrate rapid and durable responses, extended survival, as well as favorable safety profile in adult patients with TRK fusion cancer. In a lung subset, the patient also demonstrated, again, good survival, good response rate, durable responses, as well as in thyroid cancer, because we presented cumulative data on all patients, as well as subgroup analysis on lung and thyroid patient population. And across all tumor types, as I said, we showed and demonstrated rapid and durable responses, and safety profile so far hasn't been changed for larotrectinib, which is well established with from previous years.
Well, I thank you so much for your time this morning, Doctor. Lots of great information, and I'm hoping that you'll come back and tell us how things are progressing with Vitrakvi.
Yes, thank you so much. I really appreciate you inviting me and was able to speak about Vitrakvi and data.
You can learn more at www.vitrakvi-us.com. That's VITRAKVI-US.com. You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Audio copies of this program are available at healthprofessionalradio.com.au, also at Anchor, Spotify, and be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Health Professional Radio.